Oh, and we're live. Hello, hello, hello. And welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV, Sorin's Journey. Back into Endwalker. So, last stream, that was on Tuesday now. Sorin finally started into Endwalker. Scions made their way to Sharlayan. But we've split up now, so we're here in Thavnair with Estinien, Urianger and Thancred. If I recall correctly, we'd left off just as... Oh, Cloud of Darkness, yeah. I was doing my alliance roulette just before I started the stream. But we're here to help the alchemists. And Sorin in particular is needed because he's apparently here to help test talismans they're working on that allow people to resist tempering. I'm going inside. Is that... Oh, that's a fake door. No, it doesn't actually work. And of course, Sorin being naturally immune to it, I suppose he's maybe a good control group. Nidana? Drunken Depot? I hope you didn't have trouble finding this place, or climbing the hill. Not all are accustomed to the physical strain. I give you the fruit of our sweat, tears, and many a sleepless night. The Drunken Deepa. The Deepa is a lantern presented to the gods as an offering. Taking inspiration from the tradition, we created this device to test the talisman's efficacy. Upon activation, it will move a certain distance before emitting a powerful blast of ether. In lieu of corruption, those lacking sufficient protection will experience severe ether sickness. For your test, you will be exposed 4 times. That should be enough to ascertain your blessing's protective capability. Please begin whenever you're ready. I shall be observing from a safe distance. Right. So it's... I shouldn't get sick, right? That's the point. Commencing etheric exposure testing. Repeat, commencing etheric exposure testing. Retreat to a safe distance if you are not the subject. Oh. Oh. Right. Gotta keep up. Would it... was... I wonder what the reason for making it autonomous is. Ready in ether. Please stand back. I should stand close though, right? Please. Do I stand back? Ready to discharge. Test subjects, please gather near. Warning, discharging ether. Oh, that is... right. But I don't feel anything. Subject has no irrepressible urge to empty their stomach? Confirmed. Resuming test. Please follow. Alright. It seems to work so far. I'll assume Nidana has already tested this with people who don't have the blessing. Stand back. And let's go again. Oh, that is still bright. Hello, Mooney. Welcome to the stream. You haven't missed much. We've only just started. Subject stomach and bowel integrity holding. Confirmed. Resuming test. Please follow. And off we go again. Was it necessary to go the whole way around to move from there to here? I'll assume there's some part of the experiment I don't understand. It is still bright. You're struck by yet another powerful blast of ether, but suffer no ill effects. The blessing of light appears to be keeping you safe from harm. Subject fortitude rated. Impressive. No irregularities. Confirmed. Resuming test. Please follow and brace for final discharge. Where to this time? We're not too close to Nadana, are we? I think we should be safe enough. Alright. Nope. Still seems fine. You're struck by the strongest blast weaver yet, but survived completely unscathed. Etheric exposure testing concluded. Please collect and deliver me to the supervising alchemist. Congratulations on retaining your composure and your humors. Alright. Well, I guess the experiment's successful? Donna? Ah, you've returned. Not on your knees. A promising sign. But come, let me take the deeper off your hands. Oh, there you go. Thank you. I shall replenish and see for when we test the talisman. So, no dizziness or nausea or anything of the sort? You're feeling perfectly fine? My eyes are a little sore, but otherwise fine. Then the strength of your blessing is beyond doubt. There's no risk that the tower will corrupt your ether. With this, we can request your aid for the task ahead with easy hearts. I guess that means they're maybe going to be looking for my help in actually approaching the tower. You are a capable warrior too, are you not? Would you be amenable to assisting me with another errand? You see, our talisman requires the use of a special ink, but we have exhausted our stores of a key ingredient for it, the spirit weed. The herb grows not far from here, and I would like to go and harvest some. With the recent spate of kidnappings, however, we Arkasodara travel alone at our peril. Will you not come with me as my escort? I would compensate you for your troubles, of course. Oh, there's no need for that, but just lead the way. I'm here to help, after all. I'm in your debt. Without further ado, let us head for Kajaya's footsteps. It is situated on the road which runs east of the Great Work. The road that runs east. Guess I can hop down here. That would be this road, here, wouldn't it? You know, I need to crack my shoulder. Nadana? I may be simply imagining it, but I feel as though we're being followed. Look out, Sorin! Imperial. Telephoroi. Right. Are you okay, Nadana? Oh, gods, that gave me a fright. Think that the moment I ventured outside the safety of the work. Oh, thank the sisters I asked you to come with me. You're all right, I hope. I'm perfectly fine. Good, good. Let's continue on then. It isn't far now. Just through these pillars and up the rise. Oh. Alright. Certainly say the wildlife here doesn't look friendly either. I'll maybe give that a bit of a wide berth. Nidana? And here we are. Kajaya's footsteps. Kajaya was a great dancer, and those who follow in her, well, you know, they come to this place to train and dedicate their dance to their ancestors. A happy benefit of this is that spirit weed grows here in abundance. I will set about harvesting it once, if you would be so good as to stand guard. The kidnappers aren't like to return soon, but better safe than sorry. A temple for dancers. I wonder if this is... I wonder if this is important at all to Troop Falcium. Maybe I can ask Mistress Nashmira about it next time I see her. Well, now we're just watching guard. Is that...
Yes, that would be Radzad Khan. Hardly anyone has been allowed in or out since our troubles with the tower began.
Oh, had a pretty good day at work so far. That's good. I think you need it after the last couple of days for you, money.
The faithful citizens huddle inside the city walls, and commerce has all but ground to a standstill. I pity the satrap, the trials he must be facing.
I suppose that's a point. From what I know, Razahan is pretty big commercial power. A lot of trading with all kinds of nations. So, I'm curious, what kind of person leads Razahan?
Well, he is the most important person in Radzad Khan. Long ago, this island was home to two tribes of Matanga, the Gajasura and the Arkasodra. When the Aura came to these shores, it was the Arkasodra with whom they joined forces. Together they defeated the warlike Gajasura, forcing them to flee Thavnair altogether.
Then, does that mean the Matanga in Diazim's Steppe were originally from Thavnair?
Peace and prosperity reigned for a time, until a clan of Hjor from the mainland decided they wanted the island for themselves. It was a direct ancestor of the present satrap who arbitrated that conflict and welded the warring factions into the nation we know today. And ever since, a member of that esteemed lineage has inherited this somewhat unique position. You see, by and large, the state is run by the people. But when problems arise, it is the satrap who mediates a solution.
Right.
The stability provided by the satrap is what has allowed Radzad Khan to thrive all these years.
So, the satrap doesn't rule, they just... advise, I suppose?
And it was the satrap himself who entrusted us with this duty. We will not fail him, nor our countrymen.
What is the delay with the vessel? I told you I need to adjust those ratios.
Oh, there he is.
I come all this way to admire one of my splendid towers, And what do I find? Fools attempting to ward off its tempering influence with magic trinkets. I seem to recall a similar experiment in ages past. What was that man's name? Oh something? Owen?
Another body, another time. Who could be expected to remember every trivial detail? Allowing them to construct such handy talismans would be counterproductive to my plans.
Oh, you're back. Sore back. Oh, possibly. Just be sure to take it a little easy, Mooney.
And yet, I find myself deathly curious. How will they manage this feat with the limited knowledge and resources at their disposal? Complications be damned, for we cannot escape the nature of our souls. And I, as ever, am my own worst enemy.
Have you gathered what you need? I have enough spirit wheat to last us a good while. Thank you for keeping watch. Let us head back to the great work, shall we? Right. There's one task complete. Yeah, I think it's true for most of us that we're our own worst enemies. Whether or not we admit it. These things seem mostly peaceful at the moment. No more sign of raiding. You used a chocobo porter during the Realm Reborn story? I don't think I did. Not on stream. I might have made use of... Ooh, I might have made use of the rent a chocobo? But I don't know if I ever used a porter. Sorin, my thanks again for your assistance. With your help, we're that little bit closer to completing our talisman. This isn't much, but please accept it as a token of my gratitude. Thank you. You really didn't have to. So, what's next? If you will excuse me, I shall return to my work on the talisman. Kind of relax and just sit back and let Chocobo run while we'll talk about. Yeah, it can be. So, I suppose I wouldn't know about talking about stuff, but I know sometimes I've let the Chocobo run while I kind of just, you know, watched or read something in the background. Oh, right. I suppose I should let you get back to it. Ah, you are both back. Excellent. Hello. What was your name again? I have a message for you, Mistress Nidana. It would seem that the stores of Giant Skull are running low. Oh, what? But when last I looked, there was still plenty. I suspect that was before Urianger told everyone about their tempering cure, and Estinien shared his knowledge of dragons. Your peers have since been inspired to fashion a number of new talisman prototypes. I see. Well, if it leads to new possibilities, then far be it for me to complain, but we will need to replenish our stores. I should be happy to attend to this if you like. As much as I appreciate the offer, my dear boy, I can't in good conscience send you out there alone while kidnappers are at large. Sorin, loath though I am to press another task on you so soon, might I ask you to fetch the giant skull? In case you're not familiar, giant skull is a type of ore found on the island. Owing to its hardness and ethereal conductivity, it has applications in many disciplines, alchemy not least of all. The quarry where it is found, aptly named Giant Skull Grounds, isn't far away, so it shouldn't take much of your time. May we impose on you once more? Of course. I don't think I've got anything else to do. Oh, thank you. Upon arriving at the grounds, please seek out a man named Zainua. He will furnish you with the ore. Right. At the very least, permit me to accompany you. It so happens I have an errand of my own that will take me to the outpost nearby. May we borrow a pair of Hamza, Mistress Nidana? By all means. Do try to be patient with them. Those that survived are still in training. I will bring the Hamza to the entrance. Meet me there when you are ready. Hamza, those are similar to Dodo, right? I think I've seen some of them. Yeah, just there. Here are Hamza, Sorin. If the creatures look familiar, it is because they are close kin to your Eorzean dodos. I thought they looked familiar. Hamza have been long been kept as livestock in Thavnair, and many a hatchery may be found here. Alas, the largest of these was recently raised by monsters from the tower. Fat bird. They're not fat, they're just round. On account of said hatchery being situated near the tower, the Radiant Host repurposed its remnants as an outpost. That is where my errand takes me, and your own destination is but a stone's throw away. If you have no objections, let us first make for the outpost. We set forth at your word. Right. I suppose I've got no objections to seeing myself what the front line here is like. What the situation is. You are ready? Then let us depart. You need only ride and relax. My bird and I will take the lead for yours to follow. Oh, this is a little... not quite as smooth a ride as a chocobo. Let us be off. If you haven't ridden dodos before, be warned that they have a wobbling gait. Wobbling's one word for it. It does not look like a comfortable ride. That spectacular formation stretching out over the waters is called Khadka, a word which means sword. This sword, legend holds, was wielded by the Manusya against the Murga before it was cast down at conflict's end. Alright. Quite a large sword. To the left, and requiring no introduction, is the tower. As you can see, it straddles a small isle. I guess you can only get to it by boat or by air. Almost there. Though the main part of the hatchery is atop the cliff, the outpost itself is on the beach. I wonder then, do the tempered Garleans have boats or airships they're attacking with? Or are they just swimming across? And here we are, manned by the Radiant Host. This outpost is our first line of defense against the tower. It really is close by from here. Well, well, who should it be but young Varshan? On an errand for the satrap. Varshan. I'll have to remember that name. I am. His Excellency bade me come to collect your report. He also wished to express his heartfelt gratitude to the brave men and women of the Radiant Host for their unflagging dedication. We simply do our duty. We are honored to receive His Excellency's regard. And yet, for his boundless benevolence, his treatment of one so young could be regarded as callous. Though we've enjoyed relative peace and calm these past few days, this remains the front line of battle. No place for children. Your predecessor too often traveled alone. It's been, what, 2 years now since you took over. I wonder how the fellow is faring. Like those before him, he went on to represent the satrap in foreign lands. Wherever he may now be, I am certain he is well. As for myself, I assure you that all I do of my own volition, and gladly. I pray you do not think ill of His Excellency. Certainly not, lad. Whatever happens, my faith in the satrap is unwavering. But still, I worry for you. We'd be overcome with sadness if something were to befall you. Fear is a little brother to us all. Take care, do you hear? I will, Nabdeen. Thank you. And who might this be? Not Hannish by the look of him. Permit me to introduce Sorin Sherwood, of the Eorzean contingent, come to assist in the making of the talisman. From Eorzea, you say? Towers have appeared over there too, yes? Tell me, what is the situation like? Well... May I suggest that you exchange information with our soldiers? Both parties would stand to learn something of value, I believe. Of course. We're all allies here, after all. An excellent idea. Given the unprecedented nature of the threat, some of ours are understandably anxious. We would be glad for any tidings you can share. You two, bring Varshan the latest report, and answer any questions he may have. Right, Hello. I've heard about you. The visitor from Eorzea. Is there anything you can tell us about the Telephoroi? Close that again. We know that they're the ones behind the tower, and they've declared war on the whole world. Why are they doing this? What is it they want? This we don't understand. Well... their plans... They just want to burn everything down, themselves included. What? They want to die? And take everyone with them? What madness is this? I think madness is just a word for it. Well, you can bet we won't let those bastards have their way. We'll fight them with everything we have. Like our Eorzean and Far Eastern brothers. It does seem quiet for the most part. Excuse me. You wish to know about the tower? To be honest, we know little and less about it ourselves. This Tower of Zot, as folk have taken to calling it, suddenly appeared where it did on the Isle of Thavnair. We're safe from its influence at this distance, but go too far into the water and you'll expose yourself to its corrupting ether. You're a foreigner, aren't you? how are they dealing with the tower in your homeland? Well, it's... Excuse me? It's not much different, I don't think. We've got some people who can try and enter it, but they're few in number, and the defenses inside are not exactly easy to breach. Our struggles are not unique. Then our hopes still lie with the talismans. We must keep the monsters contained until they're ready. Navdeen, wasn't it? I take it you're in charge here? It occurs to me I have yet to properly introduce our company. We are the Radiant Host, a military order under the Satrap's command. Our duty is to preserve peace in the land, be it patrolling the streets or dealing with heretofore unknown threats such as now. We train hard and admit only capable warriors to our ranks. Even so, we've struggled to contend with the fiends from the tower. Though we succeeded in striking them down on the 2 occasions they came in force, we had to pay a heavy price. What of the towers in Eorzea? Do they likewise spawn monsters? They do, but it's a little different. Oh, excuse me again. So it's much the same everywhere. With every nation struggling, we cannot expect calls for outside aid to be answered. Sorry, but does seem to be the case. Varshan? Finished speaking with the soldiers, have you? I hope it was as enlightening for you as it was for them. As a neutral nation and trading hub both, Razahan ordinarily receives a steady stream of news from abroad. Alas, this stream dried up when trading vessels stopped coming. Amidst the dearth of information, everyone will have been grateful for your account. But come, you had best see to your original errand, as mine will keep me here a while longer, however. I'm afraid I cannot guide you the rest of the way. Worry not, the path is straightforward. You need but follow the road east. Upon the Hamza, you will arrive before you know it. Brief though it was, I enjoyed our time together. Till we meet again. Right. I guess I should... hello, buddy. Though the Hamza appears to want to return home, it reluctantly offers you its back. Alright. Could I not just have taken Aquila? Yeah, the Hamza does not seem like a particularly comfortable ride. If it wants to return to the hatchery, who are we to say no? Guessing that looks like a quarry. Nearly there. Oh. Well, at least that's over. Zenua. Zenua? Zenua? Always nervous about how these names are pronounced. Aye, this is indeed the Giant Skull grounds. I am Zenua. Is there something you require? I've been sent from the Great Work to collect some Giant Skull. A Giant Skull for the alchemists, you say? But of course they shall have it. They labor tirelessly to deal with the tower. and 'tis the least we can do to provide them with the materials they need. Well, thank you. Excuse me again. Here you are. A sack of the purest giant skull. We always set some aside for our alchemist friends. Thank you. I'll see this delivered right away. When you deliver it, let the good folk of the great work know that we're grateful for their efforts. If they need more, they need but ask. Thank you. I'll make sure they know. Alright. Okay. Definitely feel more at home on the back of a chocobo than on a hamster, I have to admit. Tower. I only hope it's not too long before we find a way to deal with them. I wonder what Telephoroi's plan, though, is if something happens to them. Still don't quite know if they have any other purpose beyond just summoning these lunar primals. Bit of a steep hill. I haven't seen any of the others since we split up. I wonder how they're all doing. Still no sign of them here either. Nidana? Ah, welcome back, Sorin. There I hope you have the giant skull. I do indeed. Here you go. Oh, lunchtime. Oh my, such fine specimens. Thank you so much for bringing these. We now have everything we need to make our next prototype. One that should be capable of passing our most rigorous tests. When it is ready, it will be time for the true test. So please take your ease while you can. Oh. Guess nothing for it but to sit down for a moment. Feels a little quieter over here.
I see our taskmasters have allowed you a moment's respite as well.
There you are.
You have to hand it to these alchemists. They are determined to see this endeavor of theirs succeed.
I'm grateful for it. They can give us a chance to get in those towers.
Optimism, but I sincerely get the sense they're close to a breakthrough.
Just feel that way.
They had better be, or all this effort was for naught.
Have they been causing you bother, Estinien?
The peoples of Eorzea, of the Far East, of Thavnair, children of this star united in common cause against a dire threat. Yet ere they succumbed to suicidal madness, were not the Telephoroi born of her body as were we? They who cling to life and the promise of the morrow's dawn, against they who desire death and an ending of their own orchestration. The victors of this war alone will hold the right to answer the question of existence, of its meaning, and its worth.
Poetic and ominous to a fault. That said, if it's an existential debate in nature, then our arguments might not be as persuasive as you'd think. Fandaniel wants to die and take everyone with him in an orgy of pain and suffering. An utterly vile and unforgivable idea. And yet, when spat upon by fate and wailing in the deepest pit of despair, who among us can say they have not entertained similar thoughts? There are nights black as pitch, bereft of hope, and no words of comfort can reach you. And it's all you can do to grit your teeth and choke back the bile.
The more you see and suffer life's injustices, the more difficult they become to bear. Vengeance is nurtured in similar soil. Though your anger has a broader focus, the sentiment is much the same. A fervent desire to destroy others, to see them drown in torment, as you have.
That about sums it up. The will to endure is not always as strong as the urge to burn it all down and salt the earth. Survival be damned. It's a struggle, often close and brutal.
Indeed. Well, I, for one, shall pray survival proveth more appealing in the end.
As will I. Besides, our chances are much improved when we've the company of others committed to the cause of life. Our vengeful dragoon here is proof of that.
Is that... Could have sworn I saw...
What is it? What did you see?
I saw Fandaniel.
Fandaniel? Are you sure? If he knows we've been working on a countermeasure.
It holds. The vessel holds! This is the one!
At long last!
Did... He knows about it then.
Look! We have finally created a talisman strong enough to withstand our experiments.
You mean it works?
We've named it a warding scale for the time being. With this in your possession, your soul should be completely shielded from corruptive ether.
Afforded such protection, any one of us may approach the towers without fear. Thou hast mine admiration. 'Tis an invention of historical significance.
I thank you for your kind words. But I would prefer you keep them unsaid until we test the talisman's efficacy in the field.
Right.
It is for the next stage of our plan that we summoned you in the first place, to accompany me to the Tower of Zot. Should the scale prove effective, as I very much hope it will, then you'll have little to do. But should the effect be weaker than anticipated, I must ask that you restrain me, or knock me senseless.
Right. Wonder how Nidana works on stuff when I had... Yeah... the Arcosodra do seem like they don't have quite the precision in their fingers you might need. No, but I imagine they probably have specialist tools that kind of help them get around that. You need that. I'll be there, but let's hope it doesn't come to that.
Either way, we are fortunate to have you with us.
Nidana, are you certain you wish to do this?
Yeah, I imagine they do probably have, like, tools or equipment to kind of get around that.
If others are to trust our creations, then we must have faith in them first. And as the senior researcher, it falls to me to lead by example. But should I fail to return, then learn what you can from this attempt and apply it to the next. Our work must continue. Is that clear?
Well, we are resolved to work on this.
We'll keep an eye on the place while you're away.
see.
Assuming Fandaniel is lurking about, there's no telling what mischief he has in mind for us, or you. Be on your guard.
You too.
Shall we be on our way? I'll have one of the soldiers at the hatchery prepare us a boat, and we can set out from the northern shore. I'll see you there.
Alright. Fog's rolled in. Should be happy that we've maybe found a solution, but knowing Fandaniel about has me feeling nervous about this. It's almost certain he's going to do something to intervene. Ooh. Tower definitely looks much more ominous when it's you're seeing it through the fog like that. Avoid the wildlife. Hopefully the fog will give us a bit of cover as we approach. Maybe stop us getting noticed. Nidana? This is a rather finer boat than I'd expected, but I won't complain. All that remains is to board and be on our way. And if I should become corrupted, do not stay your hand. Of course, I pray it does not come to that, but you must protect yourself. Perfect timing for the fog to roll in, yep. Other alchemists can fulfill my role, but you and your blessing are a one of a kind, and perhaps our only hope for toppling this tower. For all our sakes, do not hesitate to do what must be done, whatever that may be. It won't come to that, Nidana. This talisman of yours will work. Well, the longer I draw this out, the more nervous I become. Let's be off. Right.
We should soon cross the threshold of the tower's influence. Any moment now.
Is
It's working!
that's
And
good.
You are still yourself? Then I'd like to see how it fares closer to the tower if we could.
All right. Nidana, should we be getting this close?
So far, so good. The scale's protection appears to be holding. If we can just make it to the tower's entrance.
I'm cautious. We shouldn't try and go too far.
A few more steps. Praise be to the sisters, we made it! And the scale has proven itself to be everything we hoped it would be. Now we can focus on production. Once we've equipped and returned with an entire survey team, this menace will soon give up its secrets.
Right. If that's done, we should probably leave. Or someone notices.
What?
Nidala? That... No! Come on! This is... Where did she... What is... They're all... Nidana!
Oh, let me go! Oh, let me go! Oh!
Oh, do calm down. You'll only hurt yourself thrashing about like that.
Stop! Oh, you can't do this! Please!
No! No! Daniel!
A little late for heroics, I'm afraid. The similarities are striking.
What?
My! Such hostility! Never before has my artistry so displeased.
Art? Is that what you call this?
My patrons of old would have positively squealed in delight, though, between you and me, I find gushing praise exhausting.
You trying to say?
Allow me to tell you a story. Surely you've yet to hear the one about Vandaniel, the sundered Ascian. I inherited the position and the soul of the Vandaniel who sat on the convocation in the time of the final days, theoretically speaking.
I should listen. He's going to talk.
Practically speaking, that fact is of no consequence. I was born and lived as, well, me. Eventually, I was recruited into the Ascians and imbued with the former Vandaniel's knowledge and memories, but I never felt that they were truly a part of who I am.
And who are you?
How to explain? Perhaps if I told you who I was before my Ascian embrace, although that chapter too is a past I've long since discarded. I have it on good authority you've poked your nose into an Allagan ruin or two. Yes?
What does that have to do with anything?
Then I expect you've heard of me. The old me.
What do you mean? Not a good time.
At your service.
Wait. The one who designed that cloning technology?
Imagine a nation of unbridled prosperity. Every need met, day after day of unbroken, unshakable peace. Existence fulfilled and ripe for decay.
You are a genius without peer, Amon. However do you conceive of such delightful experiments? That fool was beside himself with panic when he awoke with the head of a bull. Even his cries for help emerged as so much guttural lowing. Oh, the memory of it. My poor sides. My friends and I were so consumed by laughter we struggled to breathe.
No more than entertainment for bored wastrels ignorant of its worth. My all-consuming work. But it was not their only indulgence. For they were ever hungry for stimulation, slaves to the slightest hint that amusement was afoot. Our nation was ailing, but I would see the poison purged. I resurrected a legend, our first and greatest emperor.
Sandy.
And just as I had planned, he set our wayward empire back on the path of conquest. An inexhaustible ambition carried us onwards, always onwards. Yet, he who delivered to us such glory was not to be satisfied.
Heed me, Amon. No matter how vast one's empire, or full one's treasure vault, all is rendered meaningless by death. In the end, all is lost.
You know as well as I that the Emperor stands to lose this war. And so I have come to claim you.
Itself.
For while your methods leave something to be desired, we cannot deny the results of your work. And as fortune would have it, the seat of Fandaniel, your rightful seat, lies vacant and waiting. Take your place amongst your peers, rather than die a pointless death amidst the ashes of your doomed nation. Send one of your clones to the Crystal Tower that you might see for yourself. See what lies ahead.
Would that have been the clone that I
The
thought?
fall of the Empire affirmed the truth. Majestic and tragic, as the Emperor foresaw. Scheme as you like, build as you will, nothing endures. What is life but a brief jaunt ending in emptiness?
That was... I'm still here. Of course he's gone. Why didn't he do anything?
So easily distracted. Why, I almost left without saying farewell. As for your friend, you needn't worry. These pawns are far more useful to me alive as fuel for the primals. If you attempt to pull them free, they will die. So, enjoy tackling that conundrum with your comrades. We shall meet again! Not in one of these minor spires, oh no, but somewhere more suitably grandiose. Your favorite playmate is ever so eager to see you.
Xenos. I'll be back, Nadana. I promise. Yeah, you gotta appreciate that enemies don't attack you when you're distracted. Yeah. Oh, someone else here as well. You returned, but where is Mistress Nadana? She was captured. There were enemies there. Manusha Preserve. Just when we had succeeded in making the talisman. I must report this at once. Meanwhile, please return to the great work. Should have guessed after seeing Van Daniel something would happen. Ooh. I do suppose in Van Daniel's case, Van Daniel probably knows he would have suffered for it if someone other than if he had reported to Xenos kind of, hey, I killed your friend. And given that Xenos knows that Van Daniel wants to die, I imagine Xenos would probably make sure he didn't. Thancred. Something's gone awry, hasn't it? What happened? Van Daniel was there. He took her. So it was Van Daniel after all. Damn that bastard! I'm sure you wanted to do more, but you're right to return here first. We must tread warily, lest we endanger Nadana and the other captives. Now what? First, we must inform everyone of the situation. Nadana's colleagues included. I'll call them together for a gathering, but I think it would be best if you were the one to explain. Right. Oh, Nadana. Can you answer me this? Though Nadana is trapped in the tower, she's still alive, yes? Yes. As far as I can tell. Then we must make warding scales. As many as we can. The prototype works perfectly. This Nadana proved at peril to herself. So let us make more scales, that she and all those who were taken might be saved. Aye. As alchemists, this is how we will help win the fight. Varshan. My friends, the satrap has been made aware of the tragedy. He offers his heartfelt condolences, and reiterates his pledge to provide you with all that you require. To that end, he bade me give you this link pearl, that he might personally discuss the production of the warding scales with you. As for our Eosian visitors, I bear an invitation. In her report, Mistress Nadana noted your vital contributions to the talisman's creation. This fact came to the satrap's attention, and in recognition of your deeds, he wishes to meet you. To meet with us? In addition to thanking you in person, he would also discuss further avenues of collaboration. And so, if it is agreeable, will you not accompany me to Razahan for an audience with His Excellency? We can hardly say no, right? We should be honoured, of course. Closer cooperation between our lands can only be to the benefit of all. And then it is settled. Please, come to the gates east of the Giant Skull grounds, and I will show you into the city. Right. Anything we can do to find a way back into that tower? And if we can liberate one, that paves the way to taking down the others. I don't think that's one I can really get to. Need to remember to keep checking my ether compass. Hello, that's the hunt mark version. I believe the gates were over that way. Hard to see in the fog. Ooh. I need to avoid that thing. That will murder me very quickly. Ooh. Is there not one? Oh, there is one at the Giant Skull grounds. I will grab that quickly while I'm here. Given how out of the way the Giant Skull ground is from any Aetherites. Oh, there. I don't need the compass. I can see it right there. Let me grab this. I think that next one's down in the second part. Yeah. So I think I've picked up all of the ones in the starting zone because I picked up a few of them in my own time when I was doing some hunt. I picked up the hunt logs. All present? Then let us proceed. Owing to the threat of the tower, the city is currently in a state of high alert, and strict restrictions are in place for entry. Though you have been granted special permission, I ask that you remain close to me at all times. Right.
A vast rock squats upon Thavnair, and to its stony surface clings the city of Rads at Han. Ye who enter here are subject to the scrutiny of gods, the gate's most watchful eye. The orb which beholdeth the truth of all things. Pass beneath its hot and piercing gaze, bearing down like a second midday sun. The fragrant haze, a mixture of sweet incense and acrid smoke. The cries of merchants mingled here with lively melodies accented by dancers' feet. travelers seduced by vivid sound and colors were once swallowed up by patchwork streets.
Finally arrived.
But no such scenes to savor now. To what somber present does that divine eye bear witness?
This is Rasahan.
Here we are. Megaduta. It seems a shame to bring you here directly. Under normal circumstances, it would have been my pleasure to show you the sights.
And it would have been our pleasure to see them. Alas, it seems our tour of the city will have to wait.
I'm afraid so. Come, we should head inside.
All right. What kind of person this satrap is?
Your Excellency, may I present our honored visitors?
Ah, splendid. Most splendid. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Ahawan, satrap of Radzatan.
Pleasure
Our
to meet you.
alchemists tell me your assistance was invaluable in the creation of the warding scale. Such deeds ought to be recognized in person. Thus did I have young Varshan convey you here forthwith. On behalf of my people, may I express to you our sincere gratitude.
I appreciate the thanks, but it's not like everything went well.
I assume you speak of Nadana. A regrettable incident indeed. Her colleagues insist that we honor her wishes and trust in the talisman, that it will be instrumental in saving Nadana and the others. I am eager to hear your opinion on the matter, so let us not stand on ceremony. Come, sit.
I think not.
It's
This
Dillian?
charade has gone on long enough. Show yourself.
What do you mean?
Forgive me, but were you expecting musicians, perhaps? There are no performers waiting in the wings at present, but arrangements could be made if you'd prefer.
Nay, he hath the right of it. The time for artifice is past. Raise the curtain.
As you wish.
Who is...
You travel as assistants to the students of Valdesian, but you are known to me. Even here have we heard of the scions of the Seventh Dawn.
a dragon? One of the first brood.
I am Vritra, and for years uncounted hath this isle served as mine abode.
Vritra, of the first brood, sibling to Hraesvelga and Nidhogg.
Aye, mine elder brothers, of Midgard Sorma's spawn. I was last to hatch.
Well, isn't this a surprise? We were told Radzat Han had an alliance with a dragon. Not that a great worm sat in the satrap's own hall.
A necessary subterfuge, as the true tale of our nation history illustrates most effectively. In the beginning, the rock upon which our city is built was home to Vitra, and Vitra alone. In time, the ancestors of the Matanga came to the island and established a foothold. But never did they dare disturb the worm's lair. Next to arrive were the Aura. Adopting the example of their Akasodra allies, they too treated Vitra with reverence and respect. And for many years, an understanding between our forefathers and the Great Worm endured. Until marauding heroes from the mainland came, threatening to shatter our peace and tranquility, when it seemed all would be drowned in blood. Vitra himself came forth and quelled the rising conflict. A peaceful accord was reached, and oaths sworn in Vitra's name. Thus began the dragon's governance of the fledgling state, which was to grow into Radzat Han.
Does that mean that Vitra's the satrap?
But if Vitra is still here, then your position as satrap is just...
A charade, yes. And one which my family has performed faithfully for generations.
Many envy the Great Worms their power. Were it known that I ruled here, then the fires of war would burn without end. I would not be the flame which consumeth my people. Those few who join me in laying our country's foundations were, perforce, sworn to secrecy.
Your eye. It was taken.
"'Tis here, buried within the semblance of flesh.
Varshan has...
The body before thee is but a simulacrum, constructed by the finest artisans of Radzat Han. With mine eye nestled within, it doth serve as an inconspicuous vessel for my will."
Right. So... You're also Vitra?
That would explain why I felt the presence of a dragon upon our first meeting.
I suppose we have met pretty much. Yeah. We haven't met Ashdaya yet. Well, Sorin hasn't. I suppose the only one really we haven't met, and the only one really we can't meet, is the real Bahamut. And I suppose that for the same reason Ratatoskr, because they're both dead.
I am woven with words fashioned to deceive such arcane senses. Though 'twas short-lived, it seemeth thy fusion with my brother hath left thee much altered, Estinien Warmblood. From the very first, we sensed the nature of one another, yet did neither one of us bear his fangs. That is all I need know of thee for now.
With my secret thus revealed, I have for you a proposal. Not as a worm of the first brood, but as the ruler of Radzat Han. With all haste must we take in hand the finished talismans and breach this foul spire. Thence, should it lay within our power, dispel its wicked influence. Yet even with the assurance of the warding scales, the narrow confines of the tower doth limit the size of our force.
And thus denied strength in numbers, thou must choose thy soldiers with care.
Just so. Yet though our radiant host is formidable, I see a surer path before me. Thou and thy comrades have contended with a multitude of primal beings. Most recently, thou didst cast down false gods in Pagalthan and Cartanau, I am told. Tis upon that strength I would call. The Scions have proven themselves the most capable, and I ask that you serve as the tip of our spear. Talismans would, of course, be provided for each of thy companions, and should you agree to this undertaking, more will be provided to make use of as you see fit.
There's no denying it's a dangerous proposition, but the rewards may far outweigh the risk. Just think of what we might accomplish if we could equip all our allies with warding scales.
And even beyond that, we need to rescue Nadana.
I worry, however, that even the four of us may be too few for what you have in mind. Might we regroup with our friends first to discuss the matter?
'Tis no trifling task that I have laid before you. Go. Steel your hearts and hone your plans. Such time as you require shall be spent in crafting your protective charms.
It seems a quick trip back to Sharlayan is in order.
Right. Let's see how the others are getting on. Estinien?
Wilt thou not lend thine aid?
Whether your request be made as a great worm or the ruler of Radzat Han, I see no reason to refuse. Nor will I.
I am in thy debt.
Guess he just felt the need for a dramatic exit. Well, that meeting took a rather unexpected turn, but we now have a clear objective ahead of us. Let us rejoin our comrades in Sharlayan, and muster a suitable crew for our foray into the Tower of Zot. Oh, and if you haven't already done so, be sure to attune to the Aephorite here before departing. Unless, of course, you enjoy violent nausea. Don't worry, I've made sure to attune. Don't want to go through that again. Right. Back to Sharlayan. There you go. Back again. I think Paladin are here. Well, we're back. Whew. Just as I was getting used to balmy Thavnair, we're back in chilly Sharlayan. Take care not to catch your death, eh? We need you for the battles to come. Now then, your investigation here remains, but when that's over, we can take stock of all the developments and discoveries. Well, sorry to keep you all waiting, but how's the situation here, Kryle? Huh? unsettling change has come over Sharlayan. Together we'll divine the underlying cause for the form's callousness. As I mentioned before, however, questioning the councillors directly is a fruitless endeavour. They seem to have already come to a consensus as to what, and how little, they are willing to divulge. Which is why I began scouring Sharlayan's archive of historical records for any hint of a connection to the final days. Suffice it to say that progress has been slow. There are only so many dusty pages one can skim in a day. But now that I have this band of willing reinforcements, the search should proceed all the swifter. Let us reconvene outside Nomenon, shall we? Exit the annex to the right, and you'll find the archives on the western edge of the woods. Alright. Eager as I am to get this team together for the tower, I do suppose we need to leave time for them to create those warding scales. Maybe what we can find here will give us some more information we can take with us to the tower. Maybe some way to save those trapped inside. I have a Reefernet shard. There we go. That's all of them. Okay, it works. So you're looking at. Yeah, I always kind of get the feeling when you suddenly go quiet that it's to do with work. So this is. My directions were easy enough to follow, I hope. In any case, you stand now before the doors of Nomenon, Sharlayan's grandest collection of books and tomes. This building is actually only an entrance, and one of many at that, for the archives of Nomenon extend deep beneath the surface, like the roots of a tree. The vast halls of the Great Cabal Library pale in comparison to Nomenon's endless maze of subterranean chambers. Any citizen of Sharlayan is free to enter and peruse its shelves. Well, most of its shelves. Only Archons are afforded access to certain restricted vaults. I've dispatched Y'shtola and Raha to investigate those. Meanwhile, Alizé and Alphino will help me continue my search through the stacks open to the general public. Oh, excuse me. Your status presents more of a problem. As a non-citizen, you are only permitted to browse the first floor here at the entrance. Even so, there should be a number of books which touch upon Sharlayan history or foreign policy. Your task will be to find and study the relevant publications. I promise you, a working knowledge of those subjects will make it far easier to spot the sort of clues we're looking for. Let's be about it, shall we? I've told the others to meet us at the stone benches over there once they found some promising tomes. Happy reading! Right. Even just on one floor, that's a lot of books to look through. I wasn't kidding when they said it goes down far. There's a lot of reading here. The story of Sharlayan. What's this one? Long, long ago, on an island in the Northern Sea, there lived a Rogadan man by the name of Urianger. Urianger was a student of astrology, and he had divined that a flood of terrifying proportions would soon sweep over the lands of Eorzea. So it was that he built a gigantic ship, assembled a crew, and set sail for that imperiled realm. The flood arrived as foretold, and to their horror the strangely churning waters drove the people towards the ocean. It was there, however, that Nunkrem's crew hauled him aboard his ark. But the danger had not passed. A towering wave approached, threatening to smash the vessel to pieces. With only moments to spare, Nunkrem wove a mighty spell of teleportation, and shifted the entire ship to safety atop of Blephia's spine. Is that the ship in... ship into Peaks near Alamigo? Huh. Refugees from the surrounding regions huddled there alongside them, but it was not long before disputes over the dwindling supply of food led to violence and bloodshed. Saddened by the sight, Nunkrem gathered to him his crew and his grateful passengers. Excuse me? Oops. Did not mean to click. And abandoned the ark to those reddened peaks. They journeyed to the coast where they built a new ship, intent upon returning to the northern seas. They landed on the beach of an island and settled upon that very spot. That settlement prospered and grew, and in time it became the city of Sharlayan we live in to this day. So that's where... That's the origins of Sharlayan. Roads of old to the colony. What's this one? Many years ago, on the banks of the Faliak and the Dravanian hinterlands, a Sharlayan colony once thrived. That's New Sharlayan, right? Or Edelshire, I suppose it's called now. This settlement was originally established as a mere outpost to study the ethereal sea in the year 1311 of the Sixth era. Scholars dispatched to Eorzea found that the facilities wanting, and their demands encouraged a gradual expansion in structures and services. As rumours spread of a growing community of academics, the area was further inundated with Eorzean students, hoping to share in the renowned wisdom of the Sharlayans. 50 years later, they had formed passed the motion to recognize what had become a flourishing town as an official Sharlayan colony. Eorzean residents took to calling the colony itself Sharlayan, which led to no small amount of confusion when discussions turned to the subject of Motherland. In response, some Sharlayan inhabitants, if pressed for name, would simply refer to it as Emporium. Following the Exodus, however, goblins and treasure hunters claimed for themselves a corner of the abandoned colony and gave it yet another name, Edelshire. Following chapters go on to introduce the most prominent features of Edelshire. The book does not appear to contain additional information on the form or cover the history of the Sharlayan Motherland in greater detail. That one's not too helpful for me. What about this one? Voice of a growing city. In the years which followed the founding of Sharlayan, civic policy and other matters of import were decided at the Ecclesia, a public forum at which every citizen was eligible to speak. As the city's population grew, however, this format became increasingly impractical. The large number of participants gave rise to ever longer debates, resulting in significant delays of vital resolutions. Various measures were introduced in an attempt to curtail protracted discussions. I wish I didn't yawn so much. Various measures... Oh. But in the year 201 of the Sixth era, it was ultimately decreed that Sharlayan would transition to a new form of governance. The nation would now be led by a body of 99 members, citizens chosen from amongst their peers by means of a nationwide vote. Thus was the form as we know it today conceived and created. So the form's all voted upon by, I suppose, everyone? lines up with why it's odd that it was a unanimous decision to refuse Eorzea's request for aid. Introduction to the Heavens. I wonder if this is about astrology. Have you ever gazed at the skies above and contemplated the mysteries contained therein? I speak not of shifting cloud patterns, but of the vastness beyond, of the sun and the twinkling tapestry of the night. Some think the dome above us to be a finite space, yet amongst the leading thinkers of our age, one scholar's depiction of a boundless sea of stars has firmly taken root. Alas, this heavenly sea remains an unreachable, unknowable destination. There are few indeed who can explain in satisfactory detail why our own star is believed to revolve around the sun. It was the technologists of Allag who came closest to understanding the laws which govern that starry abyss. It was they who launched Dalmud and sought to expand beyond our earthbound existence. Having read of their ancient ambitions, I wonder, has your interest in this field of study waxed or waned? What if I were to tell you that the eternal constellations were arranged differently in the distant past? That their positions continue to shift almost imperceptibly but measurably as we journey into the future? Would it shock you to learn that the stars drift further and further apart, and may indeed do so forever? Are you eager to learn more? This book is on the wrong subject. Search for works which contain detail on the form, or mention the history of Sharlayan. What's this one? Forever 20 summers. Well, I don't know what I'm looking for, so... My beloved seekers of knowledge, have you ever put learning before your health, and neglected to feed and rest your body as you should? I too once engaged in such foolish practices, but one night, engrossed in philosophical study, I had an epiphany. For all the world's mysteries that drive us to reckless abandon, we have so very few years of life in which to achieve our goals. Thus do I share with you this mantra. I am forever 20 summers young. The number itself is unimportant. You could be 19, or 23, or 40. Whatever age you are when you discover this manual, let that be the age you aspire to remain. Through mindful, healthy living, will you extend the time available to spend upon your chosen research. Another day, another moon, another summer to grasp the greater truths you pursue. In the pages that follow, we will explore the secrets of maintaining one's physical condition from a biological, ethereological, and arcane viewpoint. This doesn't feel at all relevant. I'm really just picking at random at this point. What about this one? Stewards of Wisdom. During the chaos of the 6th Umbral Calamity, Archon Yumkrem, founder of Sharlayan, bore witness to the madness and savagery of men brought to the brink of despair. Upon raising a settlement on an island in the Northern Empty, he instructed his people thus: renounce the ways of war and pursue enlightenment through knowledge and reason. The Sharlayans took to heart the words of their savior, and thenceforth served as stewards of wisdom. Upon a foundation of accumulated learning, they built a homeland unlike any other. A nation born from strength of minds rather than strength of arms. With knowledge of economics came shrewd trading. With knowledge of agriculture came bountiful crops. Engineering brought wells and sewers, ending squabbles over water. Wealth of expertise could be bartered for wealth and coin. And the more their wisdom spread throughout the world, the more mankind as a whole would thrive. And so it was that no matter the trials and tribulations of the age, the citizens of Sharlayan would live by their founder's teachings. For the sake of a better tomorrow, for the sake of a brighter star, they would eschew the tools of war and with knowledge deliver the word. Let's got a bit of a basic understanding. I was in there reading for longer than I expected. Nice to get the fresh air again. Are the others still searching? Oh, Alize, Graha. Sorin, were you waiting long? Not too long. I wanted to make sure I'd borrowed at least a few promising volumes. Alphino and Kryl should be along shortly. I was delayed in a similar fashion. As far as I could see, no titles in the Archon stacks mentioned a final day specifically. So we have no choice but to start with the tangentially relevant tomes, if they are even that. At present, the plan is to skim through as quickly as we dare, and share our discoveries as we make them. It would have been nice to invite everyone to the estate, plenty of comfortable places to read, and a ready supply of hot tea. Oh, I was always quite fond of reading outside. But it's not about the little pleasures, is it? You miss your home. It's been difficult. After our arrival, we managed to speak with one of the family's servants and ask how things were. It seems our dear father has instructed the staff that even if Alphino and I were to return to Sharlayan, we were not to be allowed to across the threshold. A harsh measure indeed. I hope that our efforts to understand his position, and that of the Forum, will perhaps lead to a reconciliation. We'll mend this rift one day. I'm certain of it. What of you, Graha? Have you been to visit your family, or do they not live here in the city? Well, my situation is also somewhat complicated. I was raised in Sharlayan, yes, but I was born rather further away. In the southern reaches of Ilsabard, in fact. For generations, my people have dwelt in Corvos, the coastal region opposite the island of Thavnair. The Algans founded a city in that fertile land, and by ship brought in the subjugated tribes of the Mikote to serve as labourers. Of course, the massive earthquakes of the Fourth Umbral Calamity brought an end to the Empire's reign, and when the Fifth Calamity froze the seas solid, many of the tribes still living in Corvos braved the journey back to Eorzea. My ancestors, however, chose to remain. They might prevent the remnants of Algan technology from being misused. Isn't Corvos under Garlean rule? For the past 50 years, yes. Some semblance of local culture remains, as is the case for most imperial provinces, but Golemold renamed the region Locus Amoenus. I heard about that when I was with Drusilla. That was the first place Solus or Emmett Cell had the Empire take over. When I was a boy, a nearby town came under the jurisdiction of an illustrious imperial family, the nobles of House Darnus. Darnus is in Nail van Darnus? House Darnus demonstrated a singular interest in Algan civilization, and so my tribe was forced to consider a plan of action. For some time already, voices had been raised in favour of abandoning our ancient customs. After all, the Alganai no longer passed to our eldest children as reliably as it once had. Fear of discovery eventually tipped the scales, and a decision was made to bury our ties to the knowledge and traditions of Alag. As the last child born of the Alganai, I was given over to the custody of friends and the students of Baldesion, who had me registered as a Sharlayan citizen. I never even considered. Forgive me. It was an unkind question. Even Thancred was taken in by Archon Luswa, was he not? Stories of adopted waifs and rescued orphans are more common among Sharlayans than you might think. Yet regardless of our origins, we are all provided with an equal opportunity to learn. And with sufficient perspicacity, we outsiders can even earn the vaunted title of Archon. This is exactly why I have such a love for this country, and why I wish it to remain a nation of which its citizens can be proud. Hear, hear. Another good reason to get to the bottom of the form's stubbornness, aside from the trifling matter of our impending doom. Excuse us while we try to make some headway into these books, Sorin. More company should be arriving any moment now. Right. Well, back to reading. There are others better suited to poring over old history books, so I thought I'd try my luck with more recent events. If I can find anything to better inform the form's baffling behavior. What else do I know of Corvus? Precious little, I'm afraid. I've not returned since Master Galef first brought me here. I can't tell you that Corvosi rebels still seek to slip the yoke of their Imperial masters, though the fighting is far less fierce than it once was. Oh, and they have carpets. Flying carpets. The legends are quite extraordinary. Well, Alphino, we've returned with our selections. Although I must say, the pickings are quite slim indeed. Mistress Krile has already flicked through every history book devoted to disasters, and more than a few which barely made mention of them. As such, we'll be looking into research papers on the umbral calamities, as well as articles written by prominent Forum members. Perhaps their knowledge of the final days comes from an unexpected source. Oh, excuse me. Speaking of which, might I ask you a few questions related to the final days? I'm the only one here who didn't witness the events of Amaroth firsthand, and fear I may be overlooking critical details. Right. Ask away. My thanks. Now, where to begin? Why am I yawning so much all of a sudden? First things first. What kind of phenomena did the ancients encounter as the final days drew nigh? What was it? If I remember correctly, it was... The ancients had powerful creation magics, and something started going wrong with them. Yes, the unfolding catastrophe wrought havoc on all manner of life. The chaos extended to the ancients themselves, causing their powers of creation to spiral out of control. Fear and despair manifested in terrible, tangible fashion. Meteors raining from the sky, fire erupting from the ground, indescribable abominations prowling the streets. That more or less aligns with my understanding. If only the arts of creation had survived until the present day, we might have had something substantial to analyze. To the best of our knowledge, however, those techniques were not preserved or passed on. Y'shtola surmises that the closest known magic is that of the summoning rituals promulgated by the Scions. Was there aught else of note which heralded the approach of the final days? He mentioned remember they mentioned a noise. They heard it. Ah, yes. The Immortines spoke of it, didn't they? We never did hear this sound ourselves, of course, thrust as we were into the midst of the madness. But it seems that each and every one of the catastrophes was preceded by this ominous noise. Eventually it resounded all across the star, and not even Amaroth was spared. So the ground was crying out, you say? To be considered the harbinger of doom, it must have been quite distinctive, and probably quite loud. I'll have to speak with one of Nomenon's mammoths, and ask after any books which make mention of such a sound. Last but not least, would you describe how the ancients sought to quell this unprecedented calamity? What definitive action did they take? That's... Zodiark. Zodiark was their solution. Yes. With Elidibus serving as his heart, so many gave themselves in sacrifice to bring him into being. We do not know exactly how Zodiark brought salvation to the star, only that by his godlike will were the laws of nature set aright. Then, once the balance was redressed, the ancients offered up a further sacrifice to heal the ravages of the final days. Life sprouted anew, and it was these fledgling souls they intended to render unto Zodiark. A trade that would have allowed them to resurrect the shades of loved ones absorbed by the primal. Or might have, had Vinod and her followers not manifested their opposition in the form of Hydaelyn. Thank you, both of you, for the detailed review. I feel much more confident now in my understanding of events. Excuse me. With all that freshly in mind, it does make me wonder what the Telephoroi truly mean when they speak of bringing back the final days. We've seen what they're doing with those towers of theirs. It's forcing people to summon primal as a kind of catalyst. Are they attempting to mirror the conditions caused by unstable creation magics? Or are they simply using the final days as a figure of speech? A convenient metaphor for the scale of destruction they plan to unleash? But this is all just pointless conjecture at this stage. Let us return our attention to the forum, shall we? Oh, I'm really proud of the yawning today. We should keep an eye out for Y'shtola, but this time we began studying these research papers. Alright. I can't exactly say I'm surprised that Y'shtola's the last one back. I'm the last, am I? Well, my extended search of the Archon stacks produced one or two possibly useful books. But I wouldn't get your hopes up. If you recall, Urianger learned of the source's reflections from the Garen oracles. For its potential to cause panic and confusion, that tome was deemed apocrypha and sealed away in the Great Gabal Library. 'Tis even less likely that knowledge of the unsundered world, not to mention the horrors of the final days, would be left sitting on a shelf for any curious scholar to find. It stands to reason then that my colleagues, be they Archons or Councillors, should perforce be largely ignorant of the subject. Yet, when you confronted Master Folchino with the knowledge of the Telephoroi and their machinations, he scoffed at the suggestion that they posed a threat. He seemed adamant that the Forum would know if the final days were truly upon us. Which only supports the conclusion that whatever privileged wisdom is guiding the Forum's behavior, it is being kept secret from the rest of the nation. The question is, where can we find it? Not that I mean to excuse myself from reading duty. Wherever they contain... Oh. Whether they contain mention of the final days or no, these books could yet hold something of value. You weren't thinking of leaving, were you? There's plenty of work for everyone. Of course not. Time to get reading. Oh, big rush money. You labor for what feels like an age as you stole his research assistant. Oh, right. Oh dear, you look exhausted. But what about your studies? Were you able to find any books on the subjects I mentioned? I found a couple. And the day was well spent. Should you wish to read them again, a mammoth at the reference desk will point you in the right direction. For the moment, though, I suggest you take a well-deserved rest. We might be occupied with our research for quite some time. I think I might stop it there. It is throwing me off into having to interrupt myself so many times with... It's annoying. I don't feel tired. I'm just... My brain has decided I need to yawn every 30 seconds at the moment. I must have been sleeping last night with my jaw clenched again. That's still 2 hours. Get a nice little gazebo. Yeah, there we go. No, I know I've been given a solution to apparently the fact I clench my jaw while I'm asleep, but I don't... It would mean having to wear a mouth guard while I sleep. But I find them so uncomfortable that I don't think I could... I don't feel I'd be capable at all of sleeping with one in my mouth. But... yeah, I'll finish there for tonight. I will be back next week with more Final Fantasy and Persona 3. Yeah, I should be finishing Persona 3 next week as well, which means the week after I can start something new. It says it moves into June. How is it June already? But, yeah. So yeah, as usual, schedule's up on YouTube. Well, it will be up. The current schedule is now kind of not helpful, as this is the end of this week. We'll see more of Sharlayan next time. But until then, thank you so much for coming along. I hope you enjoyed. And until next stream, goodbye.